Hi guys, it's Monica Capolaro here with you again. It's 9 p.m. and we are so ready to rock and roll. I have something really a little bit unusual and a bit special for you guys tonight. We are working with different mediums than what we normally do. So everybody knows what icing sheets are, right? Because we use them for edible images, or you call them edible image sheets. We've been using them for years and years and years. So, print on something really cool and you can do a cake wrap with it. But I actually started doing a few little different things with it. Now, each brand is different. I'm currently using the brand new over-the-top icing sheets. They've just hit the market and I've been sent a whole heap of them. So I'll just pop that here so you guys can actually see it. And I thought I'd have a little bit of a play with them and just try and come up with something a little bit different. So what I did was I actually did this cake with it. So I know how everybody hates doing ruffles or any of that kind of work. So I've actually got a cake on the other side that I did some ruffles on it, and the cake is only probably about, well, it's almost about this size. But it took me about maybe 3 hours to actually do the ruffling and this sort of effect on the cake. So this one took me all of about 45 minutes all up, and that included making mistakes and working out how to do it better. So what I thought I'd do is take you through it and show you what I'm doing with them and why they are so cool and so much easier to sometimes create a little bit of a different effect than what you normally do with your, say, your fondant or your gum paste. And the beauty of it is it's like minimal amount of tools. All right, so this is like a little cool little display cake that I'm working on at the moment. And typical me, I like things that aren't traditional. So the tier is offset on purpose. I've gone for a really small top tier with a nice strong bottom tier. So this is an extended one. All right. If you're asking me what sizes these tiers are, the bottom one I think is a 6-inch and this is a 4-inch on the top. I've just moved it, as I said, to one side. This is styro. We are working with dummy cakes, but that's just because, we're in COVID and nobody wants cakes at the moment. So I'm going to move this out of the way and I'm going to show you what I did with them. So this is an A3 sheet. You can get any sizes that you want. And I've got my little glasses here just in case I need them for later, because, sometimes we're just blind as a bat. All I did was I just removed the backing sheet because it was easy for me to work with. Pop it back down again. There are two sides to the icing sheet. There's a rough side and then there's the smooth side. This is the one that we're actually going to adhere to the cake. And this is the side that we're going to probably ruffle a little bit more on the side of the cake. So the idea today was I just wanted to show you how to finish off this particular cake and how I did this. So just to make my life easier, I'm not sure if this one's going to work for me, but I'll give it a shot. I've selected a circle shape, just a little bit larger than that top tier. I did the same thing for the bottom one. So for that 7-inch or 6-inch on the bottom, I had about an 8-inch circle. This one here, I'm just going to show you. All I did was mark it out. Now you could use a pencil. I didn't really want to, actually I might use a pencil just so you guys can actually see it on the screen as to what I'm doing. I'm only going, say, halfway around the circle onto the icing sheet, and I'm just marking it out for myself. And then I'm moving a little bit more across and I'm looking for perhaps 2 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters. So for the rest of the world, about 2 inches would, 1 inch will be about enough. Yeah, 1 inch, 1 inch. 2 centimeters, 1 inch. So 2.2 whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm going to mark that out again and I'm going to keep on going. Now you can be really, what's the word I'm looking for? OCD and measure it up. I'm just going at it by eye. Now you might ask me, oh, I want a more grandiose ruffle. I wouldn't recommend it with the icing sheets because they do tend to be soft. And I know each brand is different. I can only tell you that this works really well with the over-the-top icing sheets. So you've got to watch out. You need them something that's a little bit flexible. If you make them higher and thicker than these, or sorry, so with the bigger height on them, you run the risk of collapse. The other thing you need to note with these, like, the enemy of sugar is humidity, right? It's water, it's moisture. If you live in a very humid area, I would recommend that you test this out before you actually use it on a client's cake. Or alternatively, instead of having these at approximately 1 inch of height of thickness, I would probably reduce them down to around about 1.5 centimeters, so about 1/2 inch. That way you don't have them extending out so far where you run the risk of them collapsing on you. It's not that they collapse on you, they just go a little bit floppy or limp. And let's be honest, ladies, we don't like anything that's really limp on our cakes, do we? No. Rightio. I'm just circling these around. And that should probably be more than enough for me to actually finish that cake. So here I've got little crimping scissors. You know, the types that we use for our arts and crafts, or when we're using cards or things like that. These are pretty cool. I do have, for the people in Australia, I've got these on my website. I imported a whole bunch of them because we also use them in our wafer paper classes. Some of the other, I just dropped it in the glue. Some of the other alternatives are things like these ones as well. I'm just looking for something that has an uneven edge. You could use just the zigzag scissors, doing really well today. I promise you I've had nothing to drink. You could use this zigzag scissors as well. I had to get rid of my scissors because I've dropped it into the glue. I'll take you through the glue in a second. That's so cool. You're going to love it. So I'm going to just snip this little bit off because we'll use, and don't worry, nothing gets wasted. And when I say nothing gets wasted, I mean nothing gets wasted. We've been through this before, right? Monica clearly lived through the Depression, so I don't waste anything. Now what I'd like you to do is with your scissors, I use these ones just because they tend not to get stuck. I just want you to go around that edge. In this particular case, I'm actually taking off where I had the pencil mark. Now, if you were doing it at home, I'd recommend that you actually just score it so you can just see it, as opposed to using the pencil, because you run the risk of having color on the edges then. And then keep on going around. Again, just inside, all the way. Now the idea also is to have the ends so that they're still crimped towards the ends. This one's actually a little fancier than what the other one is. I actually used these ones originally, but these scissors I've had for a very long time, and they have a tendency of getting stuck on me when I'm working with them, which is probably not really good on a demonstration. So I'll show you these ones as well. See, it got stuck straight away as soon as I said it. Yeah, see, I prefer the look of these ones. These ones actually came originally in like a set of 10 scissors or something like that. I haven't been able to find them since, but I remember at the time they cost me an absolute bomb. And the irony was that out of all of them, I only used 2 or 3. Now see these little bits here? I'm just putting them there because we're going to use everything. Keep on going around. As you notice, I have returned back to the old scissors, mainly because I like the fact that these ones are a little less uniform. I'm only going to do maybe 4 or 5 for us today, so I'll just try and speed this up a little bit now. This is the point of the video where you'd want to go and get through it really quickly. My husband's looking at me at the moment going, why do you have to do that? I got an eye roll. Oh my goodness. It's late at night here. We're trying to get all these recordings done for you guys because I have so many exciting things to show you. Okay, I think this is more than enough for us to get going and maybe finish off the look of the cake. All right. And trim off those little ends. I'm not worried about the fact that I can see the line on the bottom there. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up here. I'm going to bring the cake back in again. And we're going to get stuck into the actual decorating side. I'm going to show you some really snazzy tricks right after this commercial break.
I have 3 questions for you. Do you love all things cake? Do you want to learn from some of the world's best cake artists? Do you want to be part of our growing community of over 200,000 members? Then get yourself over to cakeflix.com. We've got some amazing deals on right now. We offer a 365-day support plus the most amazing Q&A service. You can now view us on all the main streaming services. So what are you waiting for? Head over to cakeflix.com now and become part of the Cakeflix family. Woo!
and welcome back. So I've managed to do a little bit of a clean down and I've got the cake ready to go. So do you remember all those scraps that I had and I said don't waste them, don't throw them out? So what I came up with is I added all of the scraps into a bowl, just like so. And I just kind of cut them up into little pieces and then I added in a little bit of water. Now add in a little bit of water at a time because it has a tendency of melting quite slowly and you don't know how much you actually need. But what I'm looking for is about this consistency. Can you guys see that nice and clearly? It's almost like, it looks like, I don't know, in Australia we have clag glue. But yeah, it looks like glue, but this is edible glue made out of the icing sheets, and it works incredibly well, and it keeps also your icing sheets firm. It also doesn't discolor your icing sheets, although you can add color into it if you want to do a different effect. But what I've done is I've obviously just left it white. Now, how long does this take to develop? Approximately about an hour all up. I did speed this one up and I popped it into the microwave for a 10-second blast, which made it so much faster for me rather than have to sit there for a while. But it's like making your own sugar glue, like your own Tylose glue. But I thought that was a really, really handy tip, and it's a great way of using up the product. So even when I'm working on other projects, for example, I will store up the leftovers in a bag, and whenever I need the glue, I've got glue ready to go. Just throw that out of the scene. And as a matter of fact, you know what? I probably should have put these in there too. These are the little scraps. So these ones in here, I would just pop them in and get them going. All right, so got the cake here ready to go. The idea is that I'm going to place a little bit of glue around the base of these edible image. Crescent moon, I don't know what you want to call them, but I'm going to put them on the shiny side, which is that smoother side. So the rougher side, which is the side that we normally print on, will be on the outside. So the idea, so you can actually see them, is that I'm going to glue them at approximately this height, and then watch as I bring it up and around. You can see it gives it, because of the fact that we've done it on that crescent moon shape, it gives it a little bit of a natural ruffle without me having to do any work with a balling tool, which is a really, really handy tip when you're doing these. But the idea is that, first of all, I don't want to make them too high up because I don't want to run the risk of them collapsing or going limp on me the next morning. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm hoping that you can see it quite clearly on the monitor, is with a little bit of its own glue. It's almost like it's cannibalizing itself, isn't it? Add a bit on the bottom, and I'll take you through the tips now to get this done. Now I did try and put a glue on like 5 or 6 of them and do them all in one go. It didn't work very well for me because the glue actually dries really, really quickly. That's not the goal. The idea is that you want to have time to work with it. So if you look at my other one, I had it around about this height. So I've gone approximately a ½ centimetre in. And as you can see, I'm just adding that to the lip of this tier. And the more I bring it around, oh, it's so pretty. The more I bring it around, the more it will ruffle. Now, how long will this keep for? Well, let's be honest. It's cake. In general, your customer would be eating it within a couple of days anyway. And they're edible sheets, just like your edible images. But as I said, don't run the risk of making these too high because they can collapse on you. It's just getting to know the product and knowing its limitations. So my suggestion would be to have a little bit of a play with it and see how it works for you. So I reckon that looks really, really cute. The idea here is that I want to do these ruffles coming up there, and then I want some ruffles coming up here, but I don't want to do the entire tier. I only wanted a handful of them. I'm going to add a bit more glue here. As you can see, I'm really rough with it. Underneath this, I've still got the plastic sheet that came with the original A3 sheet. Now, how far am I going to go down? The idea is that I want to go approximately maybe 3 mil, 4 mil down. And I want to try and keep them a little bit consistent. I just find it easier to start in the middle and then work my way around. Just like so. And then I can do the other side. A good idea also would be to have wet wipes handy because this glue is super sticky. And I'm going to be a very good girl and avoid going. Huge no-no. Please don't do that on your cake or your customer cakes. And do it for your family cakes, even though it's a bit bleh, but don't do it on your customer cakes. Now, all I'm doing here is just with my finger because the sheets are really flexy, especially these ones, and it's what gives it its great movement. But I want to make sure that it's well secured. So originally when I felt it go on, I could feel it was only holding on by not even a millimeter, whereas now I've managed to get that 3 mil or so pushed in. And I just like to make sure that it's secure, and I'm taking my time with this for you guys just so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm saying out loud the things that are going through my head. There we go. So that's number 2 on. I'm going to keep on going. I'll probably end up doing around about 6 sheets or 6 little moons on this one. And I think that will be enough. Now I've got my finger all over the glue. Wipes! So I need a little sous chef running around for me. Rightio. Oops, probably should have gone a little bit more across. Now you could, I mean, how cool would this be? Imagine if you did them like in little sections rather than the full wrap like I have. Because on the other side of this one, I actually started to do that, as I said, because this was going to be a dummy cake and it was all a bit of an experiment. So I was trying different effects with it to see what actually worked the best. Oh, there we go. Love, love, love this effect. It is awesome. And you could even have some fun and with a bit of edible gold petal dust and a little bit of rose spirit or decorator spirit. I'm not sure what you guys actually call it. I think the last live that we did, somebody did tell me the name that you guys call it in the UK, but the name escapes me right now. Just on the edges would look amazing, or rose gold. Oh my God, even silver would be sensational. So these are, as you can see, they're really quick. I've spent, I don't know you guys, I have spent hours and hours rolling out fondant or gum paste, trying to get it firm, and then spending time with the balling tool or a Dresden tool, trying to ruffle the edges just to get that effect. So when I was sitting down thinking about the edible icing sheets and what else can we actually do with this product. Now, I don't know if anybody else has done this. I haven't seen it done by anybody else. I'm sure somebody will tell me if they have done it. But this for me is like a first. Having said that, I'm a firm believer. We've got 7 billion souls on this earth. Somebody's done this before me. Oh, there we go. That is just awesome. I love it. This one could have probably come around a little bit more. It's funny when you trim them, you think, oh, I've done it about the right way. No, I could have done with, there we go. This one is a little bit longer than the rest. Some are just not like the others. Now the beauty of this product is that it stays flexible. So even when I'm working with it, if I'm not happy with the edge, I can then crinkle a little bit with my fingers. And because of the fact that I have intentionally used the zigzag scissors to create that uneven edge. By the way, I also did one where I hand tore them all and they looked amazing. So these are just all options and ideas for you. You could hand tear them. But I like the fact that even if I do tear these and my petals, my little ruffles here get broken, I'm not, where are you going? Come back here. Come back here. I'm not worried because they all look like they were torn anyway. So a little bit of tearing, fine by me. Oh, lovely doubly. Now the family's mostly quiet tonight, but Kiki is wandering around. Maybe in one of these episodes we'll get Kiki to make an appearance. What do you reckon? For those of you guys who don't know who Kiki is, she is my little Maltese. She just turned 1 a month ago. She's like our little princess. And we love her so much. Don't we, Sambo? My husband is looking at me going, yeah, sort of. She's all right. She can stay. Let's see. I'm deciding as to how many layers I actually want to do. Originally I said 6, but that doesn't mean the cake is going to agree with me. I think I've said this before on my my little tutorials that the best laid plans when it comes to cake will go awry because the cake will tell you what it wants. You think you got it all down packed? I can have plans, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. All right. I reckon at this point in time, I might do 1 or 2 more while we cut to a little quick commercial, and then I'll be back to show you a really cool trick. See you in a minute. And we're back. That was really quick, wasn't it? So what if I told you that you could make these adorable little flowers in under 10 minutes each? These are created as well with the icing sheets, and I'm going to take you through how to make them. Now, the idea here is that we're not looking for botanicals. We're just looking for some pretty flowers that you could pop onto the cake. My idea was that I had originally wanted to pop maybe a couple just here in the corners, and that was about it. So I don't want to spend a lot of time making them, but I thought I would show you a super cool trick. So what I've got here is, so we're talking about under 10 minutes, right? Now this will probably go for 15 minutes only because I'm going to talk so much. But at home, you know, you can do it so much faster. So again, these are the icing sheets, and these are the ones that you know them incredibly well because they're the ones for your cupcake toppers. This is the 3 centimeter ones. So they come already. Oh, sorry, I'll just show them to you as well so anyone's looking for them. So these are the over-the-top edible sugar sheets, and this is the 3 centimeters. There are 48 3 centimeter circles on every single sheet. So start working out how many flowers that you can actually make. So for you guys at home, you can actually see those, and they're really easy to use. You just pop them off. And the reason I came up with them is because I was looking at them, because I do, as most of you know, I do a lot of wafer paper flowers as well. And I was looking at them and I'm thinking, they look already like my wafer paper sheets when I cut out the circles. But they're ready to go. So what I thought I would do was, I just pulled off a whole bunch of them. And again, do not waste what's left on the actual sheets themselves. So this part here that we're not using, you all know what to do with it now, isn't it? Store it and use it as your glue. These are really good, aren't they? Because I'm actually peeling these off. You know, some of these sheets when you buy them, some of the brands, they pop off even when you're printing on them. That doesn't happen with these ones. They're really, really good quality. But actually, look, I'm struggling to get them off. All right. I don't know how many I'm going to need. I've just kind of randomly just picked them up. What I want to do is, first of all, is I want to add in just a couple little details. You could just leave them the way that they look at the moment. I personally like a little bit of a ruffled edge around the edges. So again, I'm using those little scissors that you saw, and I'm doing 3 at a time because I'm lazy. instead of doing them individually. Trim them around like so. I'm separating them quickly only because it's been raining here in Sydney and everything's a little bit humid at the moment. And that shiny side, the one that I said normally goes on the cake side, has a tendency of becoming already sticky. So if I leave them, as a matter of fact, because my fingers are sticky, I probably should have cleaned them on the commercial break. I don't know how many I'm going to need. I'm just probably, oh, this will do. If I need any more, I'll just trim them. Okay. Then what I want you to do is the shiny side, that sticky side, up onto a foam mat. You know, you use these for your balling tools when you're creating your flowers. Grab a balling tool. Now you're going to work out really quickly how hard to press. All I want is it just to cup a little bit, and that's about it. If I dig any further in, the actual icing sheet will break, but I just wanted a little bit of that curve happening. So I have a petal pretty much ready to go. So we're going to do a few of those. I even tried just running it across the bottom. There you go, see it? I pushed down too hard and I've split the petal, but I'm not going to waste it. So if you run it along the bottom, just to create that shape. This one's actually quite a nice little soft mat. Sorry it's a little bit manky. I've been making a lot of flowers on this mat. I can honestly say it's well worn. So what I'm looking for is probably about 3 petals to start with for the bud itself, and then I'll go up by 1 petal each row, I should say. So 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then keep on going, and you can create any shape that you like. Now if you find that you're in a really humid area and you're thinking, oh, this isn't going to work because my petals are collapsing, get 2 petals and stick them together, and that will give your petals more strength. It's a really clever idea. The other thing is, just like I said to you about the ruffles on the cake, don't make your petals too big or else they will flop down on you. And again, nothing worse than floppy or limp. Isn't that right, ladies? I can see all the gentlemen who are going to pop on going, oi, listen here, Sheila. I haven't used the word Sheila in years. I don't even know where that came from. Random. All right, that's probably enough. Now we've got our trusty little sugar glue here. And as you can see, the bits that I dropped in before are already melting really, really well. Now what I do with that sugar glue is that I reconstitute it when I re-knead it. So all I'm going to do is place some sugar glue on the bottom third of each petal. Like so. Now, you know, you guys can't see it, but this is approximately how much I've got on there. All right, so I've got 3 there. I'll just do 4 here. I always like to line everything up when I'm doing them. This glue is a little bit thicker. Oh, sorry, it's a little bit claggier, so I don't, it won't dry as quick as what it did with the ruffles. So all I do here is I'm going to place a bit of glue around this styrofoam ball. This is a 2 centimeter ball. You could use, oh look, there's a little bit of what do you call it, hot glue. So what I'm looking to do is, I'm going to try and do this on angle. I'm terrible when I'm trying to do things on camera. Put 1 petal on like so, then halfway around the first petal I'm going to put the second petal and start to wrap it in, because the idea is that I want to create that little cone shape of a bud. Is this going to be a rose? Sort of. As I said, we're not looking for botanicals here. I'm just looking for a cute little flower I can pop on the cake. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit, and if I had a little bit more time, it'd be great if I actually put it on straight, Monica. One job, Monica, one job. Make a bud on camera. All these people watching you. Guaranteed I'm going to get it wrong. The beauty of it is, because it's white, I don't really care that I can see inside the bud. There we go, quick little bud like so. Now this time we're going to do 4. The idea is that the last petal I put on is tucked under the first petal. That's really important. Only because it looks a little bit more natural, even though we said we're not looking for botanicals. So again, I'm going to start the same process again. So petal number 1 is on, And I'm leaving that first little petal untucked. Petal number 3. Oh, sorry, petal number 2. I can't even count. Petal number 2. Petal number 3. I'm always going halfway around the last petal. And again, last petal, petal number 4. I'm going to pop that one into place like so. And then tuck over petal number 1. Dead set simple, right? The beauty of these ones is I don't have to wait for the petals to dry. And I have to say, if you were making these roses, you could potentially even make... My husband's trying to tell me something. What are you trying to tell me?
Move the cake out of the way.
Oh, move the cake out of the way. All right. He's going... I'm going... Ma. I know what I'm really thinking. Is that better, babe?
That's better.
Oh, there we go.
I can see what you're doing.
Oh, now everyone can see what I'm doing, he's telling me. Hopefully you can hear him as well, but they can't see the flowers that we originally made. There's the flowers. All right, so if I were doing like a whole bunch of them for a cake, I would make a few little buds like these as well. The beauty of this is that I can even then tease out the little edges just to give it a little bit more detail. And then I'd clean up the underneath. Clearly I haven't done it on this one because we're going to keep on adding some more petals on here. So we just added on how many? 4. So this time I want 5. So 1, 2, I'm going to have to create some more. 3, 4, and 5. Now the beauty of this is you could get these printed in different colors. Like imagine if it was like a soft pink or a lovely little mellow yellow. I reckon they would look amazing. Sorry guys, up to the cameras. I think someone told me off in one of the last ones going, you could at least do it on the camera. You listen, sweetheart, amateur. That's what I am. I'm an amateur at this stuff. That was my husband. I'm learning, all right? I'm used to a classroom full of people, not on camera. Any camera work I've ever done is on the Great Australian Bake Off, and even then I don't even want to watch it. All right, so there's the next row on, and it's looking a little flat and flush, so this is where I'd like to go in with the little fingertips. Pull the petals out and give it that effect as if it were starting to bloom. How cool is this? And again, a little bit more detail. Sorry, don't look at the nails. We're in COVID, yeah? The nail artists have not opened up in Australia as yet. Okay. How pretty is that looking already? Are these like the fastest flowers you've ever seen made? Come on. So if you guys are watching the video right now, I will be online and watching with you. And this is the point where I start to want to get little hearts. You know, the little hearts coming up and go, yay, money! You're doing awesome. Even if I'm not, can you just pretend I am? Make me feel better. Come on, you've never seen this before. This is where you start to think, oh, I think she's a little crazy. Most of my best conversations with my husband start with, you're gonna think I'm nuts. And that's when he goes, oh shit, what's coming? He's sitting there going, oh. Oh, apparently I'm not allowed to swear on camera. I'm so sorry. I did say it was PG, right? So Paul, if you're watching this, can you get your beep button happening, especially when it comes to having me around? Because I'll either be really naughty, a little bit smutty, or I'll, you know, drop the occasional swear word. Notorious, aren't I, honey? What did we do last? Was it 5? Yeah, so we need 6 this time. 2, 3. So you could easily see how you could get like a little process line going of these, right? 5 and 6. So I'm just going to pop all those on. So while I'm doing this, I'll just let you guys know I'm really grateful to Paul and David to be able to do this with you guys and get to know so many new people. And I want to say a huge thank you and shout out to everybody who's tried to find me on socials, the amazing little messages that I have gotten through, and some of the sweet, sweet things people have written to me just privately, even on emails through my website. It has been absolutely amazing, and I've been truly, truly humbled. Especially being at home, you know, at the moment we don't have a lot going on, so it's lovely to know that we're connecting and meeting new people and finding people in the same situations as us. So it's been really, really cool. I've definitely been enjoying it, and it's been a huge highlight. Not just the fact that, you know, I'm getting to create things for you guys, but I'm also meeting awesome new people, fabulous new talents all around the world. Some people didn't even know, you know, they did similar things to me or what have you. It's just amazing. So please, please feel free to reach out and say hello. Ta-da! How's that? We're done. Little hearts, hearts, give me hearts. Sounding a bit needy today, aren't I? There we go, guys. So we've created a really, really super quick, I actually called this the Moreish Quickie Rose. I showed it online about a month or two ago, and people were wondering how the hell I made it. So we did a really quick little workshop. I'm sure some of my students are probably here watching today. They know that in the workshop, they got so much more information and how to take these to the next level and then some, because I've got some crazy things that I now make with these. So the idea is I'm going to pop this one just on the side so you guys can see it, what the finished cake was going to look like. And I will take some very, very pretty photos of it later. What have I got here? I've got a few. They've been around for a few days now. Actually, I wouldn't mind putting a large one like so. How does that look on the camera? And the idea was that I just wanted, isn't it great? They're still soft and pliable, so I don't really have to worry about them being damaged. And that's probably about it. I don't want to get too fancy because the cake just has that little something of va 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 voom, and that's all I wanted. Guys, I wish you a great weekend, lots of love, and I can't wait to see you guys next weekend. And wait to see what I've got planned. If you love this, follow it up on social. See you guys soon. Mwah! Bye. Wait. Don't go. I've got something else for you. All right. What about filler flowers? We've made a rose or we've made a flower. Let's make some filler flowers. Little ones, little things that you could even stick onto the side of the cake, which would be absolutely gorgeous. And these you could have printed off in a myriad of colors. You can hand paint them with edible art paints, or you can use your petal dust, whatever tickles your fancy. All right, so what I have here is a little bit of a selection of cutters. Now, I normally use these for my wafer paper cutters. I originally started with like making cards, so it became like a bit of a collection. There's all different brands, everything from buying them cheap on AliExpress, all the way through to some really good name brands like Fiskars. I think Martha Stewart has some really cool ones as well. It's up to you as to some of the patterns that you want to get, and also what your budget is, because something like this will cost you about $2. Something like this will cost you about $30. So, you know, you want to have a good think about where you're going to put your money in. So what I've got here is, remember that leftover sheet that I had used to finish off that top section? And all I'm going to do is trim them out just like I was playing around with cardstock. If I can get the damn thing in there. You know, play around on me, aren't you? There we go. I love this one because when I cut them out, they just kind of pop out at you. Here we go. I want a couple of those. The beauty of these ones is that you can actually see what you're cutting, and you can see where you've lined it up, so you're not wasting your card. In this particular case, your edible images. So there's 3. And then I might do a couple of these ones as well. I'm making a bit of a mess here. Just going along the line here. So God damn it. It's very wasteful, isn't it, Monica? There we go. I've got a couple of these ones as well now. These, to be honest with you, even if you weren't going to prepare them in any particular way, and you could even fold them up or scrunch them up a little bit and just stick them into the side of the cake using a balling tool. But if you're doing buttercream, would be amazing. Just be mindful of the fact that if you are putting them into the fridge, and if your fridge suffers from humidity, which some of our fridges do, then it probably wouldn't be advisable to put your edible image paper through the fridge. This one is one of my favorites. I know it's like I said, it's like the $2 one, but it creates little mini cherry blossoms. And these are so cute, even on cupcakes. So if you were to get these printed in pink, they would be amazing. Look how cute these are. I feel like I've got a dry throat today. There we go. These are sweet, sweet, delicate little details. They could easily go onto your little macarons or meringues. And the fun part about them is that you can shape them. Like, for example, this one here, I made probably about a month ago. And as you can see, it hasn't fallen, it hasn't collapsed on me. As I said, be careful of the height that you give them, because the bigger the petals, the more you run the risk of them collapsing. But this one here, I've popped a little bit of fondant on the end of a wire. So it created its own little stamen. And it's created this very, very sweet little flower. And I could make, you know, a dozen of them very, very quickly. And they could, again, go onto the top of a cupcake if you didn't have the wire in it, for example. Even if you were to use a cute little bead, or I'm trying to think of a little dragée of some kind, like a little silver one, something that's edible that they can just pick up and eat, and you don't have to worry because you know that they're eating edible images and it's just fondant or a dragée or whatever the case may be. So these little cherry blossoms that I showed you, the easiest way to do them is to pop them onto that foam mat that I had before. Again, you're not going to judge me because it is looking a bit old and tired now. And grabbing your balling tool. Now, depending on, I'll show you an example as to how much you want them to cup. So this one was done with the larger ball, and this one was done with the smaller ball. So you can see they've curled a little bit more inwards. And it would be a great idea if you were putting them, for example, like a little cascade down the side of a cake, to have them in different shapes, so therefore you can kind of slot them in and out of each other. And you could even, again, put a little dragée or a little sprinkle or something in the middle of them. Imagine if they were pink, they would be just gorgeous. Or just do the edges in pale pink. So I'll show you how to do them. Remember what I said to you before when we're curling those little petals? We don't want to push in too hard, because or else it will tear through the edible image. But I'm just using the leftovers at the moment of the edible images. So there's a cute little one there. So that's just using the second size down on this particular balling tool. And using the smaller one, I have to be a little bit more gentle. I start by pressing it in gently. So I'm not actually pushing it in and going around in a ball. I'm just pushing it down softly into the mat. And that's how I've gotten the two shapes. So I'll show that to you a little bit more closely. There we go. How easy is that? And they're so, so pretty. I didn't have to roll anything out. I didn't have to get a mat. I didn't have to get my cutters out, or apart from my paper cutters. But I already have some sweet little things that I can pop onto the cakes. The other option was that you can even start to create like little mini buds like these ones here. Now, again, we're not looking for botanicals. I'm well aware the bud is higher than the rest of the petals. But again, if you were to have a nice little display down the side of your cake, 4 or 5 big roses, and you just wanted a couple little fillers in between, these would be very, very sweet. And the easiest way to do them is by using this cutter here that I showed you before. But again, you can hand cut, you don't need the cutters. I'm just trying to show you some ideas and inspirations as to what you could possibly do. So these are these ones. And I would personally start with the smoother side that I'm going to be working on. And I would add a tiny amount of its own glue into a petal. Each petal as so. And then, you know how you buy those rose cutters that come in 5 petals? This is only 4. But I would start with the first petal. Let's see if I can work this for you. And I curled the first petal like so. Right? And then I'll get the second little petal and I'll start to wrap it around a little bit. Bring the third petal in, wrap it around, and then the fourth petal. And I've already got the beginnings of a little bud, a baby bud. So there's the first little section. And then do the same thing again. Smooth side again. little bit of sugar glue. This time I'm going to place a little bit on the bottom as well because I'm going to attach it to that bud. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just literally dabbing it on. And this time round, starting from here, and I'll just wrap it a little bit. Now you already remember from the rose that we made, it's okay to bunch all your petals together and then go through with your fingertips and pull the edges of the petals out so it looks like it's naturally blooming a little bit. I've just pulled that petal off just to give it a little bit more shape. There we go. Now I can start to tease those little petals out a little bit. And I have the beginnings of a very pretty little flower. And then I can add another row and you can make them as big or as small as you like them. But that's a really sweet, sweet, super easy little flower that you could make. Again, cupcakes, macarons, meringues, whatever, side of the cake, little mini cakes, perfect for COVID cakes at the moment because as you know, we're all doing like mini cakes, 5-inch cakes, 6-inch cakes. They don't need huge big flowers on there. One big statement flower or a cascade of little ones would be sensational. The other one that I was going to show you was this one here, which was this cutter here, which was the Fiskars Cutter. And this one does a little 5 petal flower. And if you were to sugar glue a little bit, its own glue, it's cannibalized glue, into the middle like so, adding in the second row. And if you notice, I offset it so that therefore I've got, I can lift them up and it covers the spaces in between, like so. And then I just have a little wire here with a little bit of fondant or gum paste off the end. And I've created like its own little stamen. I can stab this through, although it's better if I first of all put a little bit of sugar of its glue here on the bottom, like so. And then I can stab it through. I don't know if it's actually going to work for me. Let me grab my little Mr. Pointy tool here and make a hole for myself. Oops, wrong side. That's my carving tool. Make a little hole like so. Don't stab myself with the tool would be even a better idea. Bring that little flower up. And then I can either mold it around the stamen or I could leave it flat out so it looks like a bit of a daisy. Can lift up those little petals as well and give it a little bit more shape. There we go. Sweet as, little flowers, dead set easy, awesome on your cakes, and hopefully I've taught you a new skill and you've had your mind blown. Now that was so worth not going away for, wasn't it? Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I've had an awesome time creating all of these things and coming up with new ideas. I hope you've loved it. Please send me a message. I would love to hear from everyone. All the best, and I'll see you guys next week. Mwah! Bye!